What really freaked me out was that how stiff they were walking, as they were all walking beside one another in a line, as they weren't talking to each other or even joking like we were. They all seemed to be walking to the same rhythm but at a steady pace. Hello terror enthusiasts, Scary Nightmare is back with more terror. In today's video, I've brought you a true story from the good old days when homies used to smoke, and you know what I mean. So basically this story is about a small group of friends that used to get stoned together as they used to pick up different smoking spots every time until one day they picked the wrong smoking spot. Stay tuned to know exactly what happened when they picked that damn wrong spot. And as the usual, before we begin, let me just quickly remind you to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on any of our upcoming future videos. 1, 2, 3, action! I was 22 years old. I'm 26 now. So back then I was a senior in college. I was going to college in a city that was 2 hours away from home. The city was quite larger than the city I used to reside in. So you know, more and more creeps could be around. I honestly never get scared easily. I'm a horror movie fanatic and I have obsession over books on demonology. Basically, I'm a strange person. But anyway, even though I'm an introvert, I made friends very easily back then when I was in college. I was a good listener back then, pretty much chilling and laid back. So I made some really good friends at the university. We had lots of similar interests, as we used to get stoned together most of the times. But the problem was, we used to get into a lot of trouble just trying to smoke in our dorm rooms. So most of the time we had to walk off campus and find places to smoke. And one day, we finally found a sweet little gym, not even a 10-minute walk from the campus. So we find a deserted parking lot that cabbies sometimes park in behind. The lot was a long fence with a hole that somebody obviously cut out. And behind the fence are some abandoned train tracks. The tracks are in horrible shape, but it worked just fine for a secluded spot for us to hang. And that immediately became our smoking spot. And then on one of the nights, we were hanging out there as the usual, just smoking and listening to music and just talking about these tracks. Then we would get the bright idea to walk further down the tracks, as we didn't really know where the tracks went or anything like that. So we were just walking really down. On either sides of the tracks are wooded areas, so we didn't know where were we going, but we were enjoying the walk. And then on one of the sides, I remember that from a good distance, we saw 3 black figures, like human in shape. We honestly didn't really care in the beginning. We just kept laughing and puffing, you know what I mean? Then after a few minutes, we somehow went a little silent. And oddly, all of us, at the same time, just felt like there was something that wasn't right. Because at the time, when few minutes just passed, we looked back and we saw the same 3 people walking towards us this time and not just standing there. So we decided to take a deep look, just staring and squinting at them. And when it came to me personally, I don't know about everybody else, but I got a really bad feeling. Then immediately, from what I could make out at this point, there were 2 guys and 1 girl. They were at a really far distance away from us still. What really freaked me out was that how stiff they were walking, as they were all walking beside one another in a line, as they weren't talking to each other or even joking like we were. They all seemed to be walking to the same rhythm, but at a steady pace. They all still looked very dark and kinda shadowy, as we couldn't really recognize any of their features still from this far distance, and also because it was a little dark there. And as we were gazing at that, all of a sudden one of my friends decided to call out to them, waving at them as well, saying, "Hello, do you guys see us? Can you guys even hear us?" And ridiculously, they were looking straight ahead, but didn't even flinch, nothing in response. We all looked at one another. We were confused and scared at the same time. They pied up their pace, and they were getting closer and closer. I could honestly sense the fear in us. I looked at them again, and they seemed to be walking much faster now. Now I was thinking to myself, is this real? Am I tweaking or something? God, we need to get out of here right now. We're not going to be this stupid. So I turned around and I told my friends to get the hell out of there. My friends immediately nodded in acceptance, and we began walking back to where we came from. And as we were walking, I looked behind me and I noticed them power walking towards us, even much faster this time. I looked at my friends and we immediately began half sprinting. And as I said before, these tracks were in horrible shape. My heart was beating so fast and I was tired, but I couldn't stop. I was the most out of shape compared to my friends, but my adrenaline was really pumping hard that night. I was the first to reach the hole in the gate, and I slipped through and held the flap open so that all my friends could slip right through with no trouble. I looked back towards the wooded area, and they were all still standing in. It was very dark to see them, because they had all black on, but we were somehow able to make out their silhouettes. They were just standing still, staring at us, watching us. I pointed out to my friends, and we all ran back to the dorms. When we got back, we were all shaken, not only from the scare, but from how cold it had been outside. And I remember back then that my anxiety went to the roof, so I just went back to my room and had a panic attack. I was so scared, and obviously, we never ever smoked there again. It even got to a level where we never brought this subject up again, and that's how scary it was for us. And that's it for today's video. My dear audience, I am absolutely excited to hear your own story, specifically if you have a similar one. That'll be appreciated. Leave it down below in the comment section and I'll take a look at it. And if it's exciting enough, I might mention it in my future videos.